Well, hello and welcome to ARM's Vision Day panel, where we're going to discuss technology and how it's advancing and impacting the human experience. I'm really pleased to welcome a fantastic set of panelists to join me in that discussion, and I'm going to introduce you to them now. So first of all, there's me, Paul Williamson. I'm the General Manager of ARM's client line of business, looks after all of the categories from the smartphone, which perhaps ARM is most well known for, through clamshells, large screen compute, tablets, smart TVs, and into the emerging experiences in AR and VR. But let me now introduce you to our panelists. So first of all, Kudus, perhaps you can tell us a little about what your role is and what you do.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kudus Asfaw. I lead UNICEF's partnerships on technology and innovation. A lot of my work consists with working with folks like yourselves. So we have a very big partnership with ARM, where we work towards getting the tech industry to advance work for children.
Thanks very much. That's great, Kudus. And perhaps hand over to Jessica.
Thank you so much, Paul, for having me here today. I am the VP of Social Impact at Unity Technologies. Unity is the world's biggest storytelling platform, and my role is really around empowering social impact creators to make a greater change in the world. Excited to be here.
Thank you. Great to have you here. And perhaps Satoshi, you could introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Satoshi Matsuoka. I'm the director of RIKEN RCCS. RIKEN is the largest national lab in Japan. And I'm responsible for Fugaku, which we just launched. It's the largest supercomputer in the world, fastest ever, and it has 160,000 ARM chips, or about 8 million ARM cores. And we're doing lots of interesting science and technology using the machine now.
That's fascinating. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. Thank you. And Kimberly, could you introduce yourself?
Sure, Paul. Thanks for having me. I'm Kimberly Powell, VP and GM of NVIDIA Healthcare. Our mission is really to take the state-of-the-art computing approaches of AI, accelerated computing, and computer graphics, and really tailor it towards and bring it to enablement of the healthcare industry. So I'm really excited to be here today to talk about all of the possibilities in healthcare and, as you say, improving the human experience through technology.
Thanks very much, Kimberly. And finally, Brendan, could you introduce yourself to the group?
Definitely. Thank you for having me here today, Paul. My name is Brendan Idelson. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Zoom Video Communication. And my area of focus is looking at strategy and innovation as we try to connect the world through video communication.
Fantastic, and clearly essential to us all at the moment. So perhaps I'm going to start with talking a little bit about some of the barriers that we need to overcome in the world, and the digital divide that we perhaps are seeing that's been particularly exposed recently. So as we think about the benefits technology can bring, perhaps we'll touch on the area of where these major technological advancements can be as broadly adopted as possible. And I think perhaps, Kudus, starting with you, thinking about UNICEF and their work, you know, how is the digital divide visible to you? And perhaps what is your context in the way of we can all work together to bring technology to people?
Yes, it's very visible. UNICEF is in over 190 countries. And one of the operating contexts that we always see is no to very little internet connectivity just for a start. Yes. And one of the areas that we're very excited to work on right now is an initiative that's actually headed by the UN Secretary General called GIGA. We essentially want to connect every school in the world to the internet. And instead of making this just a project, we feel like if we can actually pool these investments, we would be able to do that. And our role as UNICEF would be to bring in our government partners to make that commitment.
Jessica, I know Unity in many ways is thought about in the gaming context, but I'm aware that you've been involved in the past around education and bringing the sort of tools that you have towards that area. Is that something you can share a bit with us?
Absolutely. I'll pick up where Kadis left off. Our philosophy is we believe the world is a better place with more creators in it. It's really the beating heart of our company. And what we focus on is also the inclusivity of all of those creators. The world's stories can only be told if everyone has a voice. So our entire education strategy is very global in nature. And our hypothesis is that we have to remove all friction to be able to access an opportunity in the new economy. We do that through partnerships with schools, hundreds of thousands of students learning Unity and universities and secondary schools around the world. And then more importantly, in reskilling and upskilling, millions of adults reskilling and upskilling into careers. And I think the key thesis here is everyone is playing video games, especially now. How do we take that passion and excitement and funnel that into a career in the next economy?
Fantastic. Yeah, no, that's great. And I guess moving beyond education, and crossing that digital divide, coming across to healthcare, Kimberly, I'm just thinking about the digital or the real world divide in healthcare that there is in many times. And I'm wondering how technology might in the future help to improve the access to healthcare or more globally and, improve healthcare outcomes. Is there something there that you see in the future of technology?
Oh yeah, Paul, and in fact, it's actually happening now. It's happening all over. There's an absolute AI instrument, healthcare instrument, medical device revolution going on, and that's really enabled by power efficient, AI capable architectures that both ARM and NVIDIA build together. We have our Jetson platform, which is, you can get it in $100 price point where you can literally put this into handheld ultrasounds that can go for on the order of $1,000 to $2,000 and connect into an iPhone. With this AI device revolution, we're seeing handheld genomic sequencers that are completely self-contained. They can reach the far corners of the earth, where we can be sequencing water, crops, humans. This is a technology built by Oxford Nanopore Technologies in the UK. And it's all actually enabled by power efficient computing technology and artificial intelligence. This ability to lower the cost, lower the size, introduce artificial intelligence skills to these medical devices, this is going to be tremendous for that, what I would say, the digital technical divide and bringing more and more healthcare applications to the world. So it's happening now, and it's so exciting.
That's fantastic. Yeah, actually, that's a good bridge over to Satoshi, because I guess to get these insights at the edge in the places they're needed, we need to do that training on data, and we need to do that modeling in sort of research environments. Is healthcare an area you see your supercomputer technology being deployed, and is that something you're seeing as an early use case, perhaps?
Oh, definitely. Healthcare, medical applications, pharmaceutical applications, genomic applications is one of the hottest areas of supercomputing. And in fact, at my center, we just assimilated a very capable pharmaceutical unit that basically utilizes the extremely high AI capabilities along with simulation capabilities to really revolutionize drug design, sort of to not just discover drugs, but to really construct drugs out of scratch, basically. And machines like Fugaku just gives you a capability to do that, to really revolutionize these pharmaceutical process to the extent that these types of new medicine can be applied to cancer, to things like COVID and so forth.
And as Satoshi mentions, some decisions want to happen real time at the edge, so AI capability needs to happen there. And it also has to be connected to very large supercomputing resources, so we can build new things like computational microscopes that can see biology at resolutions that even no instrument can. But you can do that through approaches like combining AI and simulation together. So we are at a moment in time never before in history, and it's going to be amazing.
As we sort of pick up on the sort of the healthcare aspect, I guess we can't avoid the fact that COVID has somewhat changed our world in the last year. And I'm wondering if anyone's got observations on what it's meant for their communities and the people they see in their user groups, and whether it's changed the way people are engaging with technology.
I mean, when I look at this last year, I kind of look at the experience that we've seen where, in December 2019, we were primarily focusing on serving enterprise customers with our solution and had, on average, about 10 million daily meeting participants. Fast forward from December 2019 to April 2020, and we had moved to many more users on our platform and going to over 300 million daily meeting participants, and just a wide variety of use cases. And it went from, just a business communication platform to really empowering different people and groups in all of their lives. So we saw, businesses that were now working on connecting workers on the production line, now that they were trying to be more socially distant, being able to use mobile headsets so that they could collaborate. In the medical field, we saw tremendous use in terms of virtual doctor's visits, as well as fostering that collaboration amongst the international community.
Exactly. I think that the most exciting areas we've seen on COVID response, which will continue for years, as we all know, is the immediate medical training that we've been able to rapidly get out to doctors and nurses around the world in all parts of the world. SimX is a great example of a Made with Unity experience that focused on COVID triage, COVID response training as early as March and April of last year. In addition to that, just being able to connect on a mental health perspective, lots of anti-anxiety applications. Take Pause is a great one, built on Unity to really support the mental health. And then, of course, we can't forget the importance of the human connection among us. Probably the most popular video game right now is really, bringing together all different people from all over the world to be able to connect in a multiplayer environment.
We've been doing simulations from the very small molecular atomic levels all the way up to societal levels. And some of these simulations have really helped to stymie the spread of COVID. For example, what we have done in terms of very advanced simulations of aerosols and droplets, which have been picked up by the press by a zillion times and been broadcast, basically to educate the public, because COVID spreads mostly by these aerosols and droplets, but because people have either unwarranted fear or they're totally ignorant because they can't see, they're not observable. But we've been able to do very detailed simulations in order to visualize it, and that really and carried over TV and internet and so forth. That really has educated the public to be very cognizant, wear masks, and avoid being in unventilated places and so forth. And it could be one of the reasons why the infection rate is fairly low in Japan.
This is a pivotal moment in the last 100 years of healthcare, because we had this one thing that the entire world was completely focused on. And there's something called Eroom's law in the pharmaceutical industry. It's the inverse of Moore's law. And it's this exponential decline in productivity of discovering drugs with the increased investment in R&D. And this pandemic has completely, I don't know why it was ever acceptable in the world, because we all should want to fight disease, but this pandemic has deemed it absolutely unacceptable on a global scale. And so that's what I mean. This is a point in a line in the sand that says healthcare is forever changed. Eroom's law is no longer acceptable. And when we put the world's mind to it, we create a time machine to discovery, which we all want to do for being able to better treat cancer, fighting the next pandemic that might be in front of us, and the diseases that we don't even know about yet.
Yeah, it's really exciting to think that this is something that we could do again in the future for other bigger issues for humanity that we're going to face. And I think that's wonderful. I think one thing I'd just like to move the conversation onto is something that ARM cares passionately about, and that is, protecting data for people. We had some fascinating examples there of in COVID how data is being used for medical discovery and to accelerate things. But making sure that we're responsible in the handling of that data, and working across these communities to balance those trade-offs of the benefit of the technology with the responsibility that comes with it. And I wonder if any of the panel are willing to sort of make any observations of where they see that important in their work.
So not many people would associate UNICEF with anything related to data and privacy, and just because of the nature of work that we do. But even having said that, there's a lot of focus that we actually have around this, because we are a children's organization, and if there's one group of people that we need to protect their privacy for, it's children. A lot of our work has focused on advocacy and influence of the industry. Just to give you a very quick example, actually through the support of ARM, we worked with several groups to discourage YouTube kids from using algorithms that could actually lead to adverse learning outcomes of children. That's just a very simple example that I could give you. Now, just broadly speaking, a lot of the work that we do is bucketed under this umbrella of online protection of children. A lot of the work focuses on how we can avoid bullying, how we can avoid grooming. And all of this actually does touch on how we are protecting the privacy, the digital data and privacy of children who are online. So just wanted to make a plug there that as we might not be those who are actually doing the work to protect, we do have a lot of influencing power in relationships, such as the one with ARM, to move the needle towards there.
I don't want to sort of miss the opportunity to ask you all about the sort of the future you're seeing for the technologies that we're all creating in the industry, and sort of perhaps some of your favorite experiences or ideas that you've heard about in the emerging time. So is there anything that anyone wants to sort of call out as their most exciting area or experience that they've had recently with the future of technology?
Yeah, Paul, one of the things we're also super excited about with the enablement of edge computing, two things can simultaneously happen for the healthcare industry. As we talked about, this medical device revolution can bring medical diagnostic technology to a much larger population of people. It's really almost an iPhone moment for biology. And if you think about it, it's absolutely crazy that today we can produce more biomedical data in a 3-month time than 300 years history of some of the oldest pharmaceutical industry. And so this digitization of biology is what's going to completely bring us into an AI revolution, just like we had with our consumer sort of iPhone and all of the amazing applications that we're able to have as just consumers. We're soon going to have those as patients because of all of this digitization of biology. And that happens at the edge.
Interesting. And potentially, some people may call it a little frightening, is the fact that, this whole COVID experience has really opened up the eyes of the politicians, at least here in Japan, to the power of future predictability using these, for example, supercomputers and simulations and AI that run on them. Because, in a lot of cases, these political decisions have been made much more on a personal or like even a gut reaction kind of basis. Whereas with this COVID situation and the fact that we made very accurate predictions on what would happen, it's giving politicians to extrapolate this to establish good policies and in a very quantitative fashion to propel the world in a much better fashion, including things like carbon, including things like new energy policies, including things like disaster prevention, including things like how to what would be the right economic package that could be given to stimulate the economy in just the right way so as not to destroy economy with inflation later on. So So it's a fantastic opportunity where the decisions will be made, these political, societal decisions will be made using these future predictabilities.
Really that ability for technology to connect us all, regardless of where we are and what we have access to. And that's what really excites me, is we're getting to that point when we're connected and able to, bring minds together. We're able to move forward and move faster and really embrace our humanity. And that's what excites me the most, is technology being able to empower our humanity.
Yeah, I think, I really believe that as we continue to get smarter about our ethical use of technology, we will be able to see a much greater impact on humanity moving forward in the areas of education, digital health, and the environment. And so I think that ethical, inclusive aspect to it is what will really propel us forward and create economic opportunity for all and a deeper community globally.
So thank you very much to all the panelists for joining. It's been a really fascinating session, and I can see a huge opportunity for technology to come through collaboration to support the development of our key goals towards 2030 and a better future for everybody across the world. So fantastic contributions, and thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.